Hi everyone, it's Helen here from Simply Made Crafts. Thank you so much for joining me for today's tutorial. So today we're going to be popping together the small album die set. It's going to be slightly different. We're going to be popping it on its side with the pockets on the side with the binding on the left hand side. Okay, so I've not actually shown you how to do this before, so this is a completely brand new tutorial. So you're going to be needing the small album die set for this, and we'll also be working with the new file folders, which is the small album pocket page inserts, and we're going to be using these ones today. This one here on the right is designed for the album to be in portrait with the pockets on the side, and today we're going to be working with the pockets in landscape on this side with the binding over here. Okay, so here is the small album die set here. I've got it spread out onto 2 sheets here, and we are going to die cut one large binding and 3 of the smaller ones, the skinny ones, and then we have this page die here. So you need 2 per page, and that's 8 pages for this. So the 2 outer ones can become the covers, or if you pop it inside a homemade cover, that's 8 pages. Okay, so it's today we'll be needing 16 of these. And what I've done already is I've pre-made a lot of my pages already, so I've got 7 of those there, and all we have to do is just fold these down, and we are actually going to trim off this side tab here on the shorter edge. So let's do that. Okay, so this is what's going to give us our pocket on the side. So fold those over. Now this is just a very quick assembly tutorial on how to pop this together. I will be decorating this off camera, but I will be using the Bohemian Days collection to finish it. So I'm just adding glue. It's really important to add glue right up to these corners here. I will demonstrate exactly why that is in a moment. So I can just see the score line on there, and I'm using the bookbinding glue from Creative Craft Products. On my other channel I did do a review of this glue, and I was more or less happy with it. I am a huge fan of the Cosmic Shimmer, and I barely noticed a difference at all. With this one I just noticed you just have to use a little bit less, which does actually make it last a little bit longer. So fold that over, there we go. Use a bone folder and just press that down. There we go. Now the importance of going into those corners is because of this area here. If there's no glue here holding these corners in place, then it's going to kind of want to come apart, so that's not a good look. Right, let's move over to the binding. I have now 8 of my pages done, so we can move over to the binding. We're actually going to trim this down. So here are my binding strips, and we have these here. It might be easier if I show you on the die. We have all of these dashes here and a 4-inch there. That means we can cut this, and then that will give us the right size binding for having this album on its side. And just to help me see it, I'm just going to pop in a little pencil mark just there where I need to be. There we go. And then just grab your scissors, and this a little dashed line there that's been scored in, you can just trim away. There we go. Now do the same for these 3. They have the exact same markings. Okay, you have these little diddy binding strips now, so let's get folding. Use your bone folder. Give them a good score. This will give them a really nice crisp score using your bone folder. Okay, so these are all folded now. We can start to assemble, so use your glue. I definitely recommend using a wet glue that dries completely over using double-sided tape, even red tape. You want this to last for years and years and years, and even red tape can come undone. Okay, so we're going to pop this one directly in the center and straight as possible. If any of these go on wonky, then your pages will also be wonky, but the good thing about using the glue is that you can maneuver it. That's the first one down, and then we're going to do the same on the gaps either side. Okay, whilst things are still slightly wet, we can just double check everything is straight. This one needs to be pushed down a bit, but I think that's the first one. So I've got a little bit hanging over there, so I'm just going to trim that off. There we go. That is our binding now done. So set that aside and leave that to dry for about 5 minutes. Okay, so I've got my 8 pages here. And we are actually going to be popping this into a metallic cover. So my book's going to be 8 pages. If you don't want to go for an external cover, these 2 pages here will become your front and back covers, just like we have in this album here. So this album has the 6 pages in the middle and the front and back covers, but all made using the same die. So there's so many different options that you can do with this album. So firstly, I'm just going to add glue to our outside section of the tab. Again, same rules, go right up to the outer corner there and do it on both sides as well. Oops, I got glue on my surface. Let's wipe that up. Okay, so here is our first one. So as you can see, it goes all the way through. We've made a little pocket tunnel thingy. That slides onto there, and before you commit and press everything down, just turn it over and double check everything. And you can see here your score line is there. Make sure your score line is visible, and this is why it's important to have the glue going right into the corners. Turn that over. And that is your back page or your last page done. So we're going to now work on our next tab here, exactly the same, and I'll show you exactly how to line it up as well. Remember to put the glue right up into the corners. Right, slide that on, try and keep it flat instead of sticking straight up. Try and keep it down towards the desk, and then line it up top and bottom with the first page that you put down. Press down slightly, and then you can turn that over. Just double check that it's in line with this bit there. So I'm happy with that. And there's not too much binding on show either. So that is our second from last page done, and it's all lined up. And now what I want you to do is to continue what we've just done there, lining everything up top and bottom as we work our way along the rest of the binding. Okay, so now we have our book done in landscape. Okay, so I'd said I was going to show you the cover that we're using today. So this is the metallic fabric paper in gold finish. So it comes in 6 sheets and it's A4 size, so that's the gold finish. It also comes with a silver finish. The back is craft, and then we have the fabric paper in the craft finish. You can die cut this, you can get it wet and scrumple it up and leave it to dry. I do have a separate video on this, so I will leave that linked down below. You can sew with it, there's so many different things. Okay, so let's give you some measurements here. I'll also pop them in the description box down below. So I have cut this to 10 1/4. Gosh, you can't see a thing, let's move that down. 10 1/4 by 6 5/8, and then I have scored it at 4 1/8. I've turned it over and I've scored it again at 4 1/8. Now this cover will fit the album this way around, so we'll pop that in there with a nice border all the way around. That will close just like so. Or it will also fit this album here made in portrait. So what you do is you stick this back page in that way and you can have it open up like that, or you can glue in the spine in there. Just level it all out evenly, there is space there for you to do that, and then you've got yourself a nice cover. But we're going to turn this on the side and then we're going to actually glue this there. So let's add our glue. At the moment, because we haven't added our papers, there's no upside or downside side to this yet. Now I'm being very generous here because this is what's going to be holding this album into the cover, and this album is going to get a little bit heavier and a bit more, not bulky, but just more substantial feeling. That's the best way that I can explain that. So I'm just going to pop this there. Now I am going to scoot it forward . Okay, so from experience, I'm not actually going to use this back pocket here, because once this has glued down hard and dry to the surface of the back cover, it's going to be really difficult to actually use this pocket because it's just going to be too tight. But as these are free moving and they're not stuck to anything, it's really easy to use these ones. So I'm going to have 7 pockets. Okay, so that's going to close just like that, and that is what it looks like from the side, from the bottom, and from this end there. So you can pop in another bit of paper there just to cover that up, and then that opens just like so. And again, cover this up and mat it with some beautiful papers. Like I said, I'm going to be using the Boho Days. Right, so moving on, we're going to be moving on to the file folders. So here is the die set for that. Here we go, we're going to be using the tall one with the tab on the top, and they both come with shaped mats as well, which I think is really handy. And this one was particularly designed for this particular orientation. So we have here the binding inside these pocket pages, and that's taking up space to about this point there. So really we only have open space from here along there to the ends. So as you can see from this diagram here, this is shorter than the other one to take up that allowance. Now when I was creating these, I found that there were so many different sizes depending on what orientation of your album you are having. So I had to choose just two, so I decided for this one to be used on its side with the landscape, and this one here to be used with the small album in portrait with the pockets on the side. Now I know you can actually trim these down slightly so they will fit in the pocket here, because we have the binding taking up space on this side. So I'm hoping that all makes sense. So let's move that aside. We have two tabs here. We're going to lose one of them, so I like to use my paper trimmer. So we're going to trim the tab off one of them, and again it's really optional whether you make one of these file folders that folds up, so to speak, or you can just use that singly in each pocket as well. So with the other tab we're going to fold that over, press that down, going to add our glue, and what I'm going to do is, you can either have it like this so it matches, or if you add it like this you will get a tab each side. So it sort of makes it look like you've got loads and loads of tabbed pages, when in theory it pulls out and it's just the one folder, but it really does add to that look. There we go. And this is what it sort of looks like on the other one when they're completely matched and lined up. Okay, let's slide this in. There we go, that fits in perfectly. So we close that up, and there you go. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just grab the mat. I'm just going to quickly show you how easy it is to mat these. So grab the mat die and then choose wherever pattern you want and then run that through. Okay, so that gets glued just onto there, and if you want to have another one here, all you have to do, if you want to, is turn this over. I know this is quite scratched, but this is quite a patterned piece of paper, so we're going to run that through again that way. Okay, so I'm just sticking in the inside sheet there that we did in reverse. There we go, let's close that up, and again you can carry on matting it, just turning the piece of paper over. Okay, so let's pop that inside the album. There we go, beautiful. Okay, so all I have to do now is just carry on covering this album with the papers and then add my kinetic elements to it. Now this mini album also comes with a page die that will fit on there, so it's really easy to do, and you get some accessories with the small album as well. You get the pocket with the thumb hole as well, and the matching mat there with also the thumb hole as well. We have the smaller pocket that fits this way, or you can pop it on that way. Again, you get the shaped mat for that, and then you also get the trellis as well that you can add anywhere you want to, and you also get an extra index tab as well, so that's really handy, especially if you want to have things that tuck inside there. But these do actually tuck inside if you are using this die here. The ones with the tab on the inside will fit inside this side pocket just there. That will fit in there nice and neatly. So there's loads and loads and loads of variations that you can make with just this die set alone. I just absolutely love how many options there are, and I'm going to really enjoy making all the different types, especially now that we have these file cards. Okay, so everything that I have used today is listed down below. If you like this one, give me a thumbs up. If you love the papers, let me know, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this brand new collection. So thank you very much for joining me today, and I'll see you again next time.